Snapdragon laptops have been out for a little while now. They were extremely hyped right before coming out, and when they first came out, they're starting to kind of fall out of the media and the limelight, but that doesn't mean they're not good laptops. This here is a Lenovo IdeaPad 2-in-1. It has a Snapdragon processor. It's actually, I think, the most budget-friendly Snapdragon laptop that I've seen to date yet. They're actually very affordable, realistically. Not for people who need dedicated graphics, behemoth CPU performance. These are for people who need something that would be similar to what you get on a MacBook. Really, really good battery life and efficiency, but also need to buy into the Windows infrastructure. Can't use Mac. That's something like me. I can use Mac a little bit, but some of the software that I use actually doesn't work on Mac. So something like this laptop here is for people who need all-day battery life. Very, very efficient chip on this laptop. Very premium, metal design overall. Right, nice screen here, touch screen type laptop. 2-in-1, right? Comes with a pen that I haven't unboxed yet, right? So you got a nice little tablet type thing going on there that, can't go with the Mac, obviously. Potentially going to be doing some drawing, potentially going to be doing some graphic design. Student, someone like that who needs to have access to incredibly good battery life, all day battery life. Also need to have a really premium chassis and potentially need that 2-in-1 to take notes and, do drawing, that kind of thing. This is an excellent laptop for you. So this messy desk, I've been working on reviews a lot recently. So I have a messy desk. This laptop here is the 2-in-1, as mentioned in the intro. I just have come off a couple 2-in-1 reviews from Lenovo, actually basically the same laptops with different chips. So this one here is going to be actually pretty fresh, I think, in my mind. I also just finished off with a Snapdragon laptop as well. So, it'd be a nice it's a perfect time to review this while I have those two things fresh in my mind. So, metal design, metal lid there. Right, I think that's a metal bottom. That's a metal bottom. Very nice. How about the inside? Is that plastic or metal? I think that's plastic. Looks pretty good overall. That nice color of metal there looks very premium. Going to be resistant to fingerprints. Realistically, the hinge looks relatively robust. Nice and thin. All right, looking good. Typical kind of Yoga / IdeaPad. There's a lot of blurred lines between Yoga and IdeaPad these days. Check the weight on it. 1,500 grams, pretty much right on the dot. So that's going to give you like 3.2, 3.3, 3.4 pounds. Pen with foam. Right, doesn't really much. The charger is not very big here. Just one of these typical Lenovo little 45 watt chargers. Snapdragon is so efficient. So the whole package is pretty light. It could be lighter, if it was all plastic, but I prefer to have some metal on the laptop. And ports on the laptop, nothing crazy on this one here. You do get HDMI out, which is nice for a 14-inch laptop. I love to see that. 2 USB-C. They're just gonna be 10 gigabyte per second. They'll be fine. No USB 4 there. Headphone microphone combo jack. And on the right side, 2 USB-A and micro SD cards. So realistically, for a laptop of this size, pretty good. You get 2 USB-C. One of them is going to be for charging, but that's fine. You can run a standard dongle if need be. And then also 2 USB-A, so pretty good. And a micro SD card, kind of alluding to the fact that this is probably something that, a creative type would take, photographer, video editor, something like that. Take it with them because it has crazy all-day battery. Take their videos, pop in the micro SD card, do their editing on the go. That's kind of what that's alluding to there. Look at this guy right here, reflecting in this reflective screen. It's quite nice. So let's get to look at the chassis there. Wobble's pretty good. I mean, it's a 2-in-1, so the hinges better be pretty firm. On the desk here, if I'm moving the desk, nothing. No real shake. If you bang it, you'll get a little bit. If you actually move it, you'll get a little bit, but it actually comes back pretty firmly. Very nice. Camera bump out, which I prefer, especially on a glossy touchscreen like this where you don't have bezels. The transition between the screen and the bezel is pretty minimal. Let's bring that down so you don't have to stare at me. There we go. You do get your camera under there. Take that off. I think I'm the first one to open this review unit here. This is a review unit from Lenovo, by the way. Camera kill switch there. Very, very nice. To get into the laptop, you do need one of these star-style screwdrivers. IdeaPads and Yogas nowadays from Lenovo use these kind of star ones. Usually with these, you can just give it a little bit of force to get into one of these cracks here. Actually, that was none. Super easy to get into these laptops typically. Super easy, realistically. Actually, it's a plastic bottom, not metal. So plastic bottom. Again, it's an IdeaPad, so trying to keep the cost down. This is that very firm premium plastic that they use in some of their laptops. Actually mimicked metal when it was on, but they have to keep the cost on these things down. So inside looks fine. Pretty typical of a Lenovo IdeaPad. It's weird that this has that exposed metal. Usually they're black, but that's fine. Huge fan with that Lenovo kind of modern fan where it has less turbulence. So this should run pretty quiet realistically. This is a freaking Snapdragon. It has a huge fan and 2 heat pipes. This thing's gonna passively cool itself. I'm expecting this to run essentially completely silent. These kind of nicer style speakers here, you can see there's the back of it there. You go. See that there? Just kind of chassis, and then that speaker there. Back, I usually like the type where they have the square style rather than this rounded because they have higher wattages. But I've been finding that Lenovo has been also using this kind of rounded style, but they put bigger, like, I don't know, metallic driver on the back. I don't know what the, fine. Battery here, 57 watt hours is going to be a ton on a Snapdragon laptop. This thing should have all day battery life. Motherboard's not huge or anything. Again, it's one of their more budget offerings, but it looks good. Daughter board over here connected to the motherboard. Soldered RAM on this, can upgrade it. 16 gigabytes should be okay for a laptop of this price. It'd be nice to get 32. I mean, that's just going to give you more legs, but this is meant to be a fairly budget friendly offering there. You know, kind of a typing machine, something you're going to be doing, probably not heavy, you know, AI workflows or something like that, because it just doesn't have the capacity to do that. NVMe, unfortunately, is only at 2242. I would like to see that at a 2280. That's a little bit unfortunate there. Wi-Fi soldered underneath there, so not really upgradable or anything, but again, it's an IdeaPad, a 2-in-1, especially IdeaPad. You're buying into something relatively budget friendly. Snapdragon, 8 cores, no multi-thread or anything like that. They don't do that, so just 8 cores. 16 gigabytes RAM, running incredibly fast, but it is what it is. I would prefer 32, but I guess like for the target market audience of this laptop, probably not a big deal because you're probably not doing like huge data crunching. It's more for, you know, a typing machine, graphic design type stuff, you know, like doing drawing, taking it for work if you're doing, you know, video editing, photo editing, taking it with you, just having all day battery type thing. SSD, some Samsung thing, 2242 should be okay, we'll see. Wi-Fi is nice and fast, Wi-Fi 7, we're updating. Windows, it's just tearing, it's fine. And then you do get the iGPU X145, kind of a mid-range, right? I guess, I think it's not gonna be. Okay, we'll do a little typing test. This is a traditional IdeaPad / yoga style keyboard. The actual keycaps, if you can see that, are relatively short. The actual keycaps are short, but they have good travel, right? They go all the way down, like technically under, right? So you're gonna get good travel on it. You get a Copilot button, unfortunately. Otherwise, it's pretty traditional. Function keys up here embedded with the alternatives. So, you know, right now it's gonna be, you know, brightness up, brightness down. Function go like that, and you'll lock that out now, the function keys. So that's good, realistically. The only thing that I don't like on these is Copilot, but that's just the way the world is now. Fingerprint scanner there as well is nice. Trackpad is not huge, but it's nice realistically overall. There's your firing speaker, so it's a nice little package realistically. Let's give it the quick typing test. Yeah, so it's 10 out of 10 keyboard. I mean, it's an IdeaPad, modern IdeaPad keyboard. The only keyboards I really like more on the market are the Legion keyboards, just because they're larger keycaps with a little bit more travel. Not a glass trackpad, but smooth, right? Very smooth texture. Nice click. I like the loud click. It's my kind of thing. So overall, the inputting into this kind of package here is very nice. That, I mean, it's a more elegant solution than you'd think, because if you're just walking around, I mean, it's rubberized, so it shouldn't damage the thing realistically because it's firm in there. And then if you're walking around, you kind of get that nice little package there. There's one down, of course, right? It's relatively elegant realistically. It's the only way to really attach it to the laptop without something permanent, so kind of neat, honestly. You know, flip like that. That should immediately, it already did, immediately disable the trackpad. Yeah, very good. All right, let's check the rotation. As quick as you'd expect, giving you a couple seconds. Oops. And yeah, let's do a little drawing here. I think I drew Spider-Man the last time I did a tablet review. Look at that. So I think this time I'm going to see if I can draw Wolverine from memory. I probably can't, but let's, yeah, he's Canadian and I'm Canadian. Here. A little scruff, a little Canadian scruff there. Canadian tuxedo. A little, a little plaid action. A little plaid shirt, a little woolly. All right. All right. What's inside this jar? Well, I don't know if this is the right color. It's gonna be a hard color to get. How do you embody the color of liquid gold? Maple syrup. Lake. North of where I live, which means that he also has access to oil. So here's just a barrel, and inside this barrel, oh, it's not toxic waste. It's just, that's the warning, because inside is oil. Nice Canadian Albertan oil. That's a true Canadian right there. Maple syrup from Ontario, potentially Quebec, but I'd say Ontario for that one there. That's Alberta oil right there from the cod fisheries he's brought in. Right, he brought in some cod. That's cod. What else did he bring in here? I think he did bring in a little poutine, right? Got to represent the French over here. Got a little poutine. Right, a little poutine, a little gravy. Some fries coming out. Right? No, we don't want that. And what are we going to get from the West Coast? Yeah, I think we're going to get from the West Coast, from BC, we're going to get overpriced housing. So this is a small little bungalow, and it's $7 million. So the other provinces don't matter because there's nothing there. So I'm sorry, Saskatchewan and Manitoba, but all you have there is snowflakes. That's snow. And too much wind. That's wind. So that's it. And the territories are under federal jurisdiction, so they don't count either. Screen itself, you can see, is pretty reflective, obviously. It is a glossy touchscreen OLED, which makes sense. That's typically how they are. You're going to get, touchscreen are typically glossy. They do make non-glossy ones, but one of the advantages of glossy is the colors become very, very vibrant. It's not going to be the highest resolution on this model here, just 1200p, if I can find it. There it is, 1200p, and it's only 60 hertz refresh rate, but it is 100% DCI-P touchscreen OLED, so that's going to be really nice there. We can test that out. We can jump into a little bit of, we can show off the screen here, but yeah, it's a beautiful screen. I mean, the only negative for me, yeah, 60 hertz is fine. I don't really care. 120 hertz would be better, but it's not a big deal, especially for a laptop like this. I would prefer 1600p, right? But it's a budget offering, and most people probably don't care. You're going to get better battery life this way if you get 1200p. It's a really nice screen, though. 100% DCI-P, 400 nit OLED for a laptop that's like 1100 Canadian, like right now, not even on sale. It's pretty compelling. Okay, so we're going to test the audio here. I expect it to sound pretty good. Not staggering, but I expect it to sound good, realistically. It's coming here. I lost the tip to my thing, but it's okay. I'm not blowing wind at it, so it's not going to make any difference. Let's see how it sounds. Check loudness. Yeah, they're all right. Yeah, nothing special, to be honest. Better than some of the cheap IdeaPads of the past. Hopefully they sound a lot better than that. But there's a lot better out there. If you get into the Yoga Pros, they're going to sweep this. But again, for the price, it's fine. Benchmarks now. In Cinebench 2024, we're getting a score of 636. That's pretty consistent with the Snapdragon chips, this specific Snapdragon chip that I tested, so there's really no difference there. Interestingly, this laptop not running super quiet. It was sitting at around 45 dB while running these tests, but I'd consider that still fairly quiet considering it was under full load. Battery life, when we're idle here in Windows, just hanging out, everything turned up to max, kind of full brightness and everything, we're averaging 2.7 watts being burned. That's going to give us 14 hours, 15 hours, even though this isn't a huge battery, it's just a normal size battery. 15 hours, so I mean, that's Snapdragon for you, right? And then 1080p YouTube, again, everything turned up brightness, and we're averaging like 3.5 watts being burned. So even at that, we're sitting at about 14 or 13 hours. So when it comes down to it, I mean, Snapdragon may not be as compatible as some x86 type stuff, you know, the Intels and AMDs. But when it comes to battery life, it's still going to be the best you're going to get on a Windows machine at least. Okay, here's a look at the built-in webcam. Actually, pretty bad lighting in the front. This light is actually coming on the side of my face. There's a big window there, almost none coming in the front. It's actually doing a good job. It is lightening it slightly, but at the same time, it's not kind of desaturating me, which I find that it does. It actually might be even more red than normal, I guess, but that's fine. And the polling rate looks good, so it looks like a pretty good webcam. We'll see how the audio sounds, but the webcam itself, I'd say, is actually pretty good, realistically. So to close it out, we'll just have a look at the builder here on the Lenovo website. This is the Canadian Lenovo website. Looks like it's not on sale, so you're working at about $1,100. There's lots of coupons and stuff you can toss in there. Bring the price down, obviously, once you add some of those on. So there's some pre-baked ones here, 16 gigabytes RAM, etc. We can come to the builder here, see what they offer us here in Canada at least. Not much you can customize in here. You can, however, customize the storage. You can go from 512 up to 1 terabyte. Pen is not necessarily included, but there is. You can just pay $26, which is really nothing to increase that overall. And just poking in here to double check PSREF documents, there are no other CPU options. There are no other CPU options. It's just going to be that kind of mid-range Snapdragon. Looks like it is possible to get 24 gigabytes of RAM, just I guess not in Canada. That would be a nice little upgrade there. I think if you can get access to that and it's not super expensive, that's probably worth it. Otherwise, you know, there's not a lot of changes you can do here. You do have just that one single screen there, but at least it is a very nice screen. So my thoughts on this laptop are pretty straightforward. It's a very nice clean package on it. Really nice laptop overall. The price is good. I mean, that's completely not on sale. These things go on sale often. You can add coupons to them. And at that point, I mean, if you're looking for a 2-in-1 laptop with a really nice OLED screen, especially for somebody like a student, you can use it as a drawing tablet as well. But most importantly, you're going to get really good battery life and not compromise on things like screen. This is actually a very compelling laptop.